Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive.
Always a pleasure to be back.
And today we're diving deep into a song you've probably heard more times than you can count.
One you can get out of your head.
Billy Joel's Piano Man.
Oh, I love that song.
Now, you might think you know this one, front to back.
Like the back of your hand.
But trust me,
There's so much more to it than meets the ear.
we're going to unpack the real-life stories and some surprising facts behind this classic tune.
Like, who are these characters?
Yeah.
Really?
Exactly.
And where did they come from?
To help us on our journey today, we've got some incredible insights from Song Facts.
They've got the goods.
They really do.
On this one for sure.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand the autobiographical roots of Piano Man.
The song's origin story.
You'll meet the real people behind the
The
lyrics.
faces in the crowd.
And you'll discover why this seemingly simple song,
It is deceptively simple.
it has resonated so deeply
For decades.
with so many people for so long.
With good reason.
So the story of Piano Man starts in a very specific place.
A dimly lit piano bar.
That's right, in Los Angeles, 1972.
The executive room, to be exact.
The executive room and Billy Joel spent about 6 months there
Tickling the ivories.
playing piano. And this wasn't like peak Billy Joel fame. This was actually,
A little bit of a low point for him in his career.
yeah, it was a tough time for him. His first solo album, Cold Spring Harbor,
Didn't quite make a splash.
had flopped, and he was stuck in a record contract.
That he wasn't thrilled with.
Not at all. So he was kind of laying low, playing in this bar,
Trying to figure things out.
and get out of that contract. And you know what's interesting?
That's that.
He was performing under a different name.
He was incognito.
He was playing as Bill Martin.
Bill Martin.
Yeah.
Which-
his middle name.
His middle name.
So that's how we get Bill, the Piano Man.
Exactly.
I always wondered about that.
It all comes together,
The pieces of the puzzle.
and it was in this very bar, in the executive room,
Amidst the clinking glasses,
the smoky air, the murmur of conversation,
that he met the people who would inspire the characters in his song.
the real-life muses.
So let's talk about some of these characters, like the waitress practicing politics.
Now, she was a real person,
Oh, yeah. Her name was Elizabeth Weber.
not just a figment of his imagination.
No, and fun fact, Elizabeth and Billy actually got married in 1973.
A year after he was playing at the executive room.
Yeah. Although, sadly, their marriage didn't last.
The course of true love never did run smooth.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Then we have John at the bar.
Oh, John.
Now John's identity is a little more
Yerky.
mysterious.
Yeah, shrouded in a bit of mystery.
There are actually a couple of possibilities.
Intriguing.
So one strong theory is that John is based on a man named Ian McLean,
Ian McLean,
who was a bartender
another man at the bar.
at a bar near Burbank Studios, where Joel also played.
Okay.
And apparently patrons had trouble pronouncing Ian's name.
Ian's a mouthful.
It can be.
Yeah, so they just called him John.
They just called him John.
Yeah.
And the story goes that Ian was really proud.
Of his possible connection to the song.
Oh, yeah, he loved the idea of being immortalized in Piano Man.
Who wouldn't?
It's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
But there's another theory,
Oh, there's another contender.
another contender.
Who's that?
Some believe that John at the bar could be John Ritter,
The comedian.
the comedian who was also trying to make it in L.A. around the same time.
Okay.
And the lyric about John being quick with a joke,
Definitely fits the comedian image.
it does.
It does.
So maybe John is a combination of different people Joel knew.
A composite character.
A composite John?
So we've got a couple of potential Johns.
We do. And then there's Paul, the real estate novelist.
Paul always chasing that dream.
Oh, yeah. So Paul was based on a real guy, a real estate broker,
Of course he was.
who was always at the executive room,
Nursing a drink,
and he was always talking about writing a novel.
but never actually getting around to it
Never.
because he was always at the bar.
Always at the bar.
A classic tale.
Isn't it? Procrastination.
And then we have Davy, who's in the Navy.
Davy.
And Davy's story is particularly touching.
Oh, why is that?
So Davy was inspired by a man named David Heinz,
David Heinz.
who Billy Joel met in a pub in Spain.
Okay, so this was even before the executive room.
Oh, this was back in 1972 while David was in the Navy.
Got it.
And the line, probably will be for life, really hits home for David's daughter, Lisa.
How so?
Well, David stayed connected to his Navy experiences throughout his life,
He was a Navy man through and through.
and he sadly passed away in 2003.
Oh, I see.
So that line about the Navy being for life, it just takes on this whole new meaning.
A poignant layer of meaning.
Yeah, when you know the real story behind it.
It's incredible how these simple lyrics
They do.
can hold so much weight.
They really do, and it makes you think about all the stories behind the songs we love.
Right. Every song has a story.
And now here's something that might surprise you,
What's that?
given how much people love Piano Man.
It's a classic. Billy Joel himself has some mixed feelings about it.
Really?
He does.
What doesn't he like about it?
Well, he's actually said that he was shocked and embarrassed by its success.
You're kidding?
I know.
Why would he be embarrassed by that?
Well, he thinks the melody's too simple and repetitive.
He's a tough critic of his own work.
He is.
Wow.
And he's even compared the lyrics to limericks.
Limericks?
Yeah.
Like those short, funny poems?
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
He even points to the verse about John at the bar.
Okay.
You know, John at the bar is a friend of mine. He gets me my drinks for free.
Yeah.
And he says, if you read it with a really fast, sing-songy rhythm,
Like a limerick.
it sounds just like a limerick.
Huh. I never noticed that before.
It's true.
I may have to listen to it again with that in mind.
You should.
So, musically speaking, despite his own reservations, are there any interesting elements to the song?
Oh, absolutely.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, it's in waltz time,
Waltz time.
which is
Huh?
34 time, and that's pretty unusual for a pop song.
Yeah, you don't hear that very often.
And it gives Piano Man this kind of gentle swaying rhythm.
Like you're slow dancing in a smoky bar.
Exactly.
I love that.
A few other famous songs in 34 time
Okay.
are Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls,
Oh, yeah.
Kiss from a Rose by Seal,
Beautiful.
and With a Little Help from My Friends, as sung by Joe Cocker.
Great choices.
They are.
And what about the harmonica part?
Oh, the harmonica, that's a direct nod to Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Apparently, Joel saw Dylan playing harmonica using a special strap.
So he could play other instruments at the same time.
Exactly. And that gave him the idea to incorporate harmonica into Piano Man.
Makes sense.
And we can't forget the accordion.
The accordion adds such a cool vibe to the song.
It really does. It was played by Michael O'Martian.
Oh, okay.
And it adds this kind of melancholic texture to the music without being too overpowering.
A perfect complement to the harmonica.
It is. So this song that came from a tough time in Joel's life
When he was playing in that LA piano bar,
and was inspired by real people he met.
it became a huge hit.
It did. Piano Man was the title track and the first single on Joel's breakthrough album.
The album that really launched his career.
Exactly. And this was after he signed with Columbia Records.
So he finally got out of that bad contract.
He did. It was a big turning point for him.
A new beginning.
It was, but even the release of Piano Man had its hiccups.
What do you mean?
Well, the single version was cut down for radio play
They made it shorter.
to 3.05,
Wow.
and Joel was furious about
He
it.
didn't like them messing with his art.
Not one bit. And you know what?
Why?
This experience actually inspired him to write another song,
Which one?
The Entertainer,
Oh, wow.
which is all about the frustration of having your music edited for commercial reasons.
I can see why he'd be upset.
It's a common struggle for artists.
It is.
But even though Joel has called Piano Man an old long song about a guy at a depressing piano bar,
He's so hard on himself.
I know.
The song just keeps resonating with people.
It does.
It's timeless.
It is. He was even surprised to see young people singing along to it at the Bonnaroo Festival.
So it's not just for us old folks.
Not at all. And it's become a staple in piano bars everywhere.
Although Joel has said it can get a bit boring to play as an instrumental,
I can imagine.
especially if you have to play it every night.
But at his own concerts, he often plays it as the final encore.
A guaranteed crowd pleaser.
Always.
It's his signature song.
And its cultural impact is undeniable.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the Weird Al Yankovic parody, Ode to a Superhero.
Classic Weird Al.
And there's even a Spanish version by Ana Belén called El Hombre del Piano.
With different lyrics focusing on the piano man's inner struggles.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
That's really cool.
And there are even references to Piano Man in other songs, like Elton John's Tiny Dancer.
Really?
Yeah, there's a line about a piano man in there.
Huh, I never noticed that.
And in Joel's own song, You're Only Human, Second Wind,
One of his more serious songs.
he actually plays the Piano Man melody on the harmonica at the beginning and end.
It's like a subtle callback to his earlier work.
It is.
That's really clever.
So as we look at all these stories and this journey, what are some of the themes that you see resonating with listeners?
Well, one of the big ones is loneliness
Yeah.
and the need for connection.
That line about sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone.
It's so powerful.
It really is.
It speaks to that human desire to find solace in shared experiences.
Even if those experiences are kind of sad.
Yeah, even in a depressing piano bar.
And then there's the theme of unfulfilled dreams.
Ah, yes, the dreams deferred.
All the characters in the bar, the waitress, John Paul, they're all kind of stuck.
In a rut.
And they're looking for an escape.
Even if it's just temporary.
And the bar becomes this place where they can forget their troubles for a while.
And dream of something more.
Exactly. And the piano man himself,
He's the observer,
he's the one witnessing all of this.
providing the soundtrack to their lives.
But you get the sense that he might be feeling stuck, too.
Even though he's talented,
Yeah, and the fact that the patrons ask him, what are you doing here?
it suggests they see his potential.
And maybe even his own resignation.
It's a really interesting dynamic.
It is so Piano Man. It's more than just a catchy song.
It's a story.
It's a snapshot of a specific time and place in Billy Joel's life.
And in the lives of the people he met.
And its enduring popularity speaks to its relatable themes.
Of loneliness, connection, and the search for something more.
Exactly.
Like, it's a song that stays with you.
It really does.
So the next time you hear Piano Man,
Yeah.
don't just listen to the music.
Listen to the stories.
The stories of Elizabeth, John, Paul, and Davy.
And think about all the other seemingly simple songs out there.
That might have fascinating stories behind them just waiting to be discovered.
That's what the deep dive is all about.
Looking deeper
And finding the hidden layers.
in the things we love.
Thanks for joining us today on The Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Keep diving.